Aloha, and welcome to another episode of Home is Here. I'm Kala'i Miller. Hano Hano Na'ehu, aka the Paniolo Prince, has quite the resume. Rodeo champion and world record holder in team roping, Kia'i Loko, or fish pond steward, environmental activist, and in 2023, alongside his wife and friends, he added Nahoku Hano Hano award winner to the list.
I think that was one of the crazy parts is how they were like, hey, there's a nonprofit doing fish pond work that was responsible for the hip hop album of the year. Like, whoa, how you braid those two together, huh?
We must play our part for our kingdom to survive. Strong Ohana ties in these uncertain times. In a core aloha aina, the time has arrived. Maika mole ole hua, from the roots we rise. We must play our part for our kingdom to survive. Strong Ohana ties in these uncertain times. In a core aloha aina.
My great-grandfather was a Paniolo, my grandfather was a Paniolo, my mom was a Paniolo. And so that was my life at that time, was for being on Paniolo. We entered high school rodeos around the state of Hawaii and even qualified for nationals, where me and my cousin in 1995 set a team roping high school world record.
5.82 world record on the 6 seconds flat. What a slap in all those howling.
Soon thereafter, there was a tuberculosis, a TB scare on Molokai, so they decided to eradicate all the cows on island. So you can imagine, right after coming back, being the best cowboy of my generation, coming back, and no more cows. Like, what you gonna do, you know? And so we gotta transition. Okay, I'm not gonna be on cowboy anymore because that lifestyle was going down. And seeing my best friend go into fixing fish ponds for peanuts. The pay is not good, but the life is great. But it's a struggle because it always, it's against the money, it's against the tourism, it's against the Western system. Oh, it's against colonialism. Oh, working fish pond is, as a Hawaiian that waking up to my history at that time, was like the perfect place that I needed to be. No matter the pay, I wanted to be around my best friend and go do that type of work that used all of my skill set as a Paniolo with my awakening of being a Hawaiian patriot, and then having the ability and the privilege to learn from Walter Reedy while all of this is happening and blossoming, finding out more about the history of, hey, that's the guy who occupied Ko'olawen, went against the American military. What? That's your sensei? That's my master. That's Yoda. Yeah. And so all of this blossoming into like a perfect storm for me as a human being of coming into my own is like, who are you? What do you stand for? What you gonna use your talents for? And how you gonna be a good guide? And I think the finishing piece was my wife and my kids. Once that one attached, boom, that's when the best version of what you see right now is happening.
Huiokopa is a nonprofit that began in 1989 by a group of leaders from Molokai, one of them being Uncle Walter Reedy. And it was established to start restoring the local i'a, the fish ponds on Molokai. They restored 5 fish ponds till date. And over time, the switching of nonprofits took place at Keawanui Fish Ponds. Now it's run under Aina Momona. Well, we didn't want to dissolve Huiokopa, so Hano Hano asked Uncle Walter, would you consider giving it and handing it over to me and Maile to take care of, and we'll continue the legacy of restoring fish ponds. He said, okay, but you're gonna have to raise money to do all this work, and we're like, we're ready to do it. So we began our restoration work at Ohalahala, which is in our ahupua'a of Kumimi, where we live, where we are right now. And we got the permit, and we've been restoring it and hosting different field trips. Huiokopa has created so many different educational resources and experiences, from arts to hands-on in a fish pond to getting the hands dirty in the mala and growing kalo, whatever it might be. Food sustainability and awareness about aloha aina through different mediums.
My mentor told me Uncle Walter Reedy, aloha aina, loving this place that feed us, that give us life. He said, if and when you do fish pond work, kia'i loko stuff, you walking the talk. If you malama aina, you aloha aina, then you can speak for aina because you know what the aina's saying. And so those 2 decades of being on kia'i loko at Keawanui with Uncle Walt really went instill this deeper connection to everything that I learned as a Hawaiian cowboy. I have all the answers inside of me because of the experience and the lessons that have been learned from the generations that came before me. So collectively, these 2 veins of Hawaiian culture and of living in and on these islands, I get plenty examples of how to live one good life, one productive life, if not one amplified life. And so my ability for continue for fix fish ponds, for teach out of fish ponds is what opens up everything else that I do, conservation work, educational work, all of these other stuff that will in turn help the environment. Because I believe if we save the planet, saving the people is guaranteed. If we keep chasing people problems and avoid all of these environmental ones, we're gonna find ourselves in disasters that we're facing right now. Uncle Walt Reedy tell me, you guys gotta be able to tell our stories. You can't let them tell our stories. We gotta tell our stories. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I wish I could sing. I cannot sing. I cannot play instrument. I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm gonna be a rapper. Plus, all of this aloha aina kind stuff that we're doing, this fish pond kind stuff that we're doing, if I can rap what we're doing on these beats, the kids gonna take them, gonna bite. This is like early 2000s. This is a good medium for try become a storyteller. And at first, any rapper who first started, the cadence is terrible. So like when cowboy who never know how to ride horse, always riding them rough, you know? Right, always riding them offbeat. Being when cowboy actually came into play with, you know, becoming a rapper. But in kind of again, like the cowboy way, just earn them, just go the hard way. If I never meet my wife, I wouldn't have become this version. But that's where the seed was planted. And you got to tell your story. And I was thinking to myself, the only way I can tell my story is rapping, because I know all the other skills.
Checking facts, attitude, lips, military resistance in these islands regular, no worry.
That was good. That was like perfect volume. You didn't run out of breath. You had lots of breath.
Yeah, choke breath. Choke breath.
Choke breath.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
Yeah.
Don't lose the breath. Creating hip hop, Hawaiian hip hop, has been a huge personal journey and has actually strengthened our relationship as husband and wife, because he was the original hip hop artist in this family. I always had music in my head. I was just too afraid to let it come out of my mouth. And so when he finally made that space feel comfortable, that's when the magic started to happen. And I realized that it became like almost an alter ego or a voice that I've always had. But sometimes it's not really the most comfortable setting to just tell people how you really feel, because it ends up as a debate or really uncomfortable, or sometimes it even breaks up friendships, you know? But music is really amazing in that it allows the ear to kind of soften a little bit, the heart to kind of open, and the mind to open and receive that message in a way that otherwise wouldn't be received in a normal conversation. It allows the time for the listener to really process and think about it. And sometimes it offends people at first. They're like, oh, the way they say things is just so radical and so, you know? But that's really how we feel.
I remember the slaughter, an unforgettable day. Aha ali ilapa PEPEKAV.
And the award goes to Ho'okupu, a hip-hop anthology of Hawaiian history.
Mahalo nui. Ho'okupu. Oh my gosh, we went for it. We got grants, we got money. We did Hawaii's history through hip hop. We created a textbook, we created curriculum, and it's being used in classrooms. So mahalo, mahalo, mahalo. Nui ke aloha ia oko apau. Aloha aina.
Well, Nahoku is definitely an honor. That was the idea of my wahine, to use our collective talents of our friends. Again, like on Warrior, you cannot just get in and stay at that level. You gotta progress, you gotta get better. You cannot just stay junk. And so the way I got better was opening up myself to critique and criticism and inviting some of the best MCs that I've gotten for known from around these islands to help create with, to rap with, to cruise with, to make this album with. And I told them in the beginning, if you can come to my island and make this place better, you can be my friend. And I can take you, go Mauka Makai, and show you how to live and love this kind of place. And the friends that we've made over time that we've taken to go do poetry workshops, writing workshops at all of the schools on Molokai that came to go help rebuild the fish pond. Those are the talents that we've used on our album that has recently gotten Nahoku Hano Hano Award. Almost everything I say is for environment, it's for culture, and can be very political. That's why you hear our music, I believe. It's not because of the quality, but it's because of the content. We question everything that is taken away from our culture, our environment, our past, present, and our future. I like those messages be the new prayers that we chant and we awaken to this reality that things are not what it could be and that we can do 10 times better, but we gotta collectively do it. And so again, like the music has just given me and my family and my wife the opportunity for say what I like say. And being an activist for a long time and using the megaphone, even being one conservation lobbyist, going to DC and talking to the decision makers. I don't think there's a better way of spreading message than through music.
Talk to me if you wanna talk. Pohaku awai loko ia hey I'll never imu ahu. We use rocks in every part of our lives. Irrigation, aquaculture with an endless supply. War clubs, earth ovens, altars and temples. Using this resource became fundamental. The basics, trace it back to the source. Nana ike kumu, tapping into the force. We build with skills in the ocean on the hill. Niho haka haka ili ili to finish and feel, cook, kill, retain, worship, pound and build. How our king made his well heal, prophecy fulfilled.
Thank you for tuning in. It's because of viewers like you that we can continue to share the stories of the people, places, and events that make Hawaii home. If you would like to support our mission to advance learning and discovery, head over to pbshawaii.org and click on the donate button. For Home is Here, I'm Kala'i Miller. Ahui ho.